Welcome to episode 2 of the Carport Chronicles. Today we are continuing the work on this carport, if you will. Today I'm going to be tackling getting the foundation ready, which means leveling out the dirt area that I want to use for this carport. And then I also need to get ready to add some gravel to it, and then eventually we'll build the frame out for this thing and move it to its final location. To get going on this project, I've got my tools ready. I went ahead and made some stakes yesterday just to stake out my area, and then obviously some other tools to make that happen. As you can tell, things have changed a little bit. Got a quick little dusting of snow there, and also I was in the middle of mapping out my spot here and realized that being so close to the driveway is basically going to create a giant snow pile in front of the tent as we clear off the driveway this winter. So I'm gonna actually push it back a little bit, and instead of being right here, I think what I'm gonna do is actually take its current position and put it back from exactly where it is now, and hopefully I can make that work. It's been actually a couple days, and Jen and I were able to get this entire patch cleaned out of all the grass. So here's how it looks. But I did want to update you guys on the carport itself. It's still doing great, by the way. Like, I've had to adjust the anchors a little bit just overnight and stuff, but it's all right. Kind of expected being only half anchored with not the middle ones down. But got some tires here, finally moving in to the carport a little bit. These are actually really hard to open with one hand. And inside, we still just have the Prelude chilling, but I did move a couple things in. And as I said, I decided to kind of push this thing all the way against this wall, since no one's going to be getting in on the passenger side. I can always just pull the car out, but that way I have way more room on this side. So as you can tell, I've got the F30 wheels, the stock boys chilling right there. I got the bunch of the wood and rebar that I'm going to be using to build the foundation, so that's just chilling. Got the old F30 muffler, haven't seen that in a grip, and just some other various items. So that's kind of it right now. Frame is all built and put together. It's in its final location. I made it an 18-foot by 12-foot frame, which is a little bit bigger than the canopy. The canopy is about 10 by 17, so it will be a little bit bigger, which I wanted to have, so that way it helps shed the water, the rainwater, snow, and all that stuff away from the carport. I ended up going with a bunch of these 2x6s that are pressure treated and rated for ground, so they should definitely be good to be like basically submerged in the dirt. And I went ahead and got some outdoor, I believe this was like deck screws or something. They were like 4-inch screws. So it's connected all the way around. I just made some little pieces there to connect the longer pieces to make the whole length fit. So that's where we're at for now. Basically what I have to do next is grab a tool to dig a trench for this entire frame, to submerge it in the dirt by about, I would say 2, maybe even upwards to 4 inches actually. This thing needs to go down quite a bit. And then I also need to make sure it's completely level, and then we can fill it with dirt and gravel. It's finally going down. We got the bucket loader. Woo! Yes. First load of gravel going in. Drop it down. show you something else. Oh my gosh. Jenna is driving the tractor, the bucket loader right now, and we just got some dirt inside, so now we're gonna go make a bunch of trips and fill this whole thing up with dirt.
So then, if you see, on the other hand, that existence is musical in nature, that is to say that it is not serious, it is a play. People go to Scotland just to hear one crashing chord, because that's the end.
All right, guys. Well, it's been it's been like a week actually. It's been more than a few days. It's been about a week, and I've been wanting to get this thing done and wanting to get more content on this freaking carport out onto YouTube, but it's just been so cold, and with the snow and just everything else and trying to get the gravel in place, it's just been a borderline nightmare. But I'm happy to say, guys, the carport is done. It's in its like final spot, so this is where it's gonna be. I gotta give a huge shout out to Jenna and actually her family for helping me out with the gravel. Getting the bucket loader to bring all the gravel over here and into this foundation made my life so much easier, so I'm super pumped about that. I'll go ahead and take you guys inside in a second, but the whole thing is now anchored. It's anchored in all four corners due to like a 1.5 foot post that goes down to the ground, and I've also basically made, and I'll show you inside, a wooden frame for the entire piece, so that way the side columns are bolted down directly into the wood, and this whole thing is really not going to go anywhere. Before we get to a couple of little mods I want to do actually related to this door and these zippers, because they are really kind of a pain to open, especially while you're trying to hold a camera. So just wedge it with my knees and bring the zipper up. So it is now on gravel. The Prelude is no longer sitting on grass. I built a giant 2x6 frame for this bottom piece, so that way the entire bottom of the canopy or the carport is anchored to the wooden frame as well, so it's got a lot of weight under it. It's holding this thing down pretty well, and during storms what I can do, if it's gonna be really windy, is tie down an extra anchor with like a ratchet strap to the Prelude, so like one under the tow hook and then one on the rear tow hook to keep it in spot. So I guess that might work. Got some F30 wheels here, still have some organizing to do. I'll need to get my shelves up with my tools and all that stuff, but real temporary right now. One issue I want to talk about today is this. So as you can tell, it's flapping and it really lets in a lot of cold. So I want to try and bring this in, and I have a couple ideas for that. Today I went out to Home Depot and picked up a couple lengths of PVC piping. So for some reason, this bottom seam, and I'll show you in a minute, on the front door is actually smaller than the rear. So I had to get 3/4 inch 10-foot piece of PVC for the front door, and this is 1 inch PVC 10-foot length for the rear. Gotta stoke the fire. It's like 20 degrees out right now, guys. It's not ideal, but making it happen. So one little mod for the zippers, I'm gonna go ahead and add one of these to each side. Shout out to Thick F30 on these, or Thick Whip, I'm sorry. Thick Whip, brother, I forgot. But I'm gonna add these just to make my life a little bit easier when I'm opening this thing to have some tags. What I'm gonna do with this PVC is I'm gonna take the 3/4 inch piece. Like I said, that's gonna go up front. So what I'm gonna do is slip it in between this little hole right there and run it the full length of this, and then Maybe I'll leave some extra on the side so that way I can like tie it down so it's not flapping. And then I'm gonna do the same at the back. So I'm gonna go ahead, get these sized up and fit in there somewhat, and I'll catch up with you guys. Just put in the 3/4 inch piece up front, and I think I'm actually gonna leave it long for now because this actually holds itself against this bar on the inside and kind of keeps the entire outer door from flapping in towards the Prelude. I don't mind so much if it kind of flaps outwards like this some, it's only gonna run into the tires. So that should keep it at least from flapping inwards. Check this out too, the combination of the flight tag and the PVC, I no longer need to use my knees or the awkward third hand to like pull this thing up, and now I can just zip it all the way up and get right inside. And last but not least, finally got the back bar in, and this one was definitely a lot more of a pain than the front. So if you are in the same situation as me, just take your time with it and don't rip the tarp, because that would suck. So I finally got this in, and I think that is it for the carport, at least for today. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for being patient as I'm pushing out this carport series. This part just took longer than I anticipated with the weather and getting the gravel foundation all done. It just took longer than I wanted it to, but now we have a functional carport. Now it's just upgrading it, modifying it, and making it better. So I've got some really cool stuff coming up for it, including heating, lighting, maybe some insulation, not sure yet, but stay tuned guys. Thank you so much. Thumbs up if you liked it, comments down below, subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Keep elevating. Peace out.